Travis Wayne Goodsell. The news is trying to promote a whole bunch of scams just in time for Christmas, as is every year. We have people asking for donations using guilt trips. Commercials show regular American children pretending to be in Africa, or animals being locked in cages specifically for the commercial to try to get sympathy for people to give up money to their charity. And yes, there's a lot of long-standing charities, but this is their job. It's not something where they give everything that is donated to the source that they're claiming is donated. They have to pay for the commercials, and they have to pay for their cost of living that they choose to have. So, but the news, going over that this morning on YouTube, Fox 13 News Utah. Oh, that's social media. Oh, that's fake news. It talks about Utah Food Bank needs your help this holiday season. And then the warmth of help. Oh, yay, let's put in little code words, trigger words. How to help the homeless in Utah. Oh, because our government didn't want to do it, and that's where we're going here. Let's see. Rio Grande Cafe moving. The damage from the earthquake is still not fixed. Where you can get your flu shot free of charge. And snow boot donation to Utah foster care. A 40-million-year-old saber-toothed tiger skeleton. Oh, that's got to be fake news, because the Earth was created in 4000 BC. Possibilities for women launches scholarship program. Many businesses hiring in Utah. Yeah, because their employees got sick with coronavirus. And so now they're desperate for employees, which means they'll soon be shutting down when they can't get the employees hired. I told you this was coming. We don't want to listen to you telling us that we're wrong. Oh, so sad. Couple dies 1 minute apart from each other. We'll make it a Lifetime movie so that everybody can cry. So, before I get into the topic, they have one COVID states project. COVID states project shows Utahns aren't social distancing. That was very interesting, because it says that our case numbers are skyrocketing, but we're doing middle of the road for masks. So like I told you, masks don't cure coronavirus. Again, Travis, you're trying to make us feel guilty for trying to murder people. Oh, here's Lehigh trying to to ban protesting. It's already a crime in Utah. I don't know why they think they got to have a new rule to reinforce the general one. And then mental health for youth and COVID isolation. Yes, get them while they're young so that they can be evicted from their homes and torn from their parents who hate them, and put them in a mental home for the rest of their lives, doped up on drugs to become worthless in society so that they become dependent. And that does partly cover the topic. Everybody assumes we're capitalist. And so when Democrats try to run for office, there's the great rising fear of socialism. And with coronavirus even, Democrats didn't want to give us free money. That's for corporate businesses, not the people. And so they don't like charities and all that, other than when there's an emergency that requires them to actually give to the people. Then they say, oh yeah, go to your religion, go to your charity. Let them handle it. That's the only time when they want charities involved. But pure capitalism is not being practiced in America. Let's take food, for example. We have a central marketplace run by a party organization. That's called communism, in case you were wondering. That's more closely associated with the type of economy we have, except that we have mixed into it an extortion threat economy. And it's necessary to understand the differences of economies. And the church, because they are supposed to be a religious charity, are definitely not wanting to be that, as they want to be a business to continue to make more and more trillions of dollars each year, and not want to have to take care of people. As the church says themselves, they want Mormons to be self-reliant. What do you think that means? We don't want to take care of you. And so, yeah, that's why we're still not getting money during this coronavirus to help us out, as we are in a recession, and they're now concerned that we may be heading into a double recession. A super secret double recession. And so let's use grocery stores. You have lots of different sub-stores who give to a particular store. So some of them will give to the various ones, the Harmons, your Smiths. We used to have Albertsons, I think that's gone. And then there was a other one. I never went to it, but I know of it because I'll see it today as I have to travel. But Reams is now closed, or at least the one on my route. But each of them typically get your major brands, General Mills, for example. But they have their different no-name brand. Smith's has the Kroger brand. Western Family was for Albertsons, I believe. And so those are the main differences. But under pure capitalism, your General Mills would have their own store. And with the internet, they would have their own internet store. They wouldn't be going to Amazon. Amazon, communism. The General Mills store would be pure capitalism. And this is why the Democrats are trying to crack down on social media, but also against the big companies, internet companies like Amazon and Walmart, is because they're almost a monopoly online. And again, monopolies are anti-capitalist. You're not supposed to have monopolies in capitalism. And so what you would then have is you'd have a store for General Mills, you'd have a store for Kellogg's, you'd have a store for Quaker Oats, or Quaker. And if, Kroger and Western Family want to continue to do their no-name brands that taste like sawdust, then fine. They can have their own store. But once they start introducing other people's products into a central marketplace owned by a third party, you're talking about a different type of economy. And so I hope that explains the general gist of it. And so when we're now getting involved with charities, like I mentioned, it requires donations. Now, under a governmental system that would have allowed for pure capitalism, charities are illegal because they threaten capitalism. Because people are already supposed to be getting money for the labor at the particular jobs that they work, and they give taxes to the government, and those taxes are supposed to take care of the poor and the needy, the sick and the afflicted in the nation. And so the church does have a point when they don't want to do the job. But we're not living in capitalism. And because of the mix with extortion and communism, yeah, our economy is crap. And as a result, millions are suffering, especially under a coronavirus pandemic. As the stores were unprepared for such a disaster, as we ran out of toilet paper and food in the beginning, because it wasn't profitable for them under the type of economy that we actually have. And so all of these charity organizations are just scams. The church even is a scam. Religion is a scam if it's all about getting money and not about preaching Jesus. And so all of those big religions are just scam artists. They're taking advantage of people during this corrupt economy that we have. And otherwise, religions would have to function similar to King Benjamin in the Book of Mormon, where he says that I may be your king, but I'm also out there in the fields working for my living, so that nobody can claim that I'm laboring off of your slavery, because that's priestcraft, clearly defined in the Book of Mormon. And yet, that's what the church is doing, is priestcraft. And Mormons want to argue. Sorry, you can't argue the Book of Mormon, but Mormons do. And so when you get these other situations like health, doctors, mental health doctors, who are not real doctors, they're fake. They are dependent under our current economy to generate as many patients as they can. And that requires that if everybody were healthy, they wouldn't have a job. There'd be less of a need. And so it's in their best interest to have people that are sick. So mental health, the big scam, guess what they did during this coronavirus? Oh, people have coronavirus anxiety. Then the election comes around. People have 2020 election anxiety. They just are trying to generate more money by tricking people into telling them, oh, yeah, you're mentally ill. Oh, you can't handle the pressure. Oh, you're so anxious. And it's all you. They're victim blaming you. And so they want money. They're just like these other donation places. And so the Utah Food Bank, under our system, we have taxation. The taxes are supposed to go for the poor. We're not supposed to have charities. But government doesn't care to take care of the poor. And so they then allow charities. And then you get guys like Trump who have a charity and then steals from the charity so that the charity doesn't actually give charity. And so, yes, lots of scams as a result. And so the homeless, government's supposed to take care of the homeless to make sure that everybody has a home. These are basic necessities. Health and fitness, food, clothing, shelter. When those are dependent upon an income, and an income is dependent on a job that pays a sufficient income, then you get problems. But that's why pure capitalism in and of itself doesn't work either. Because if people preferred Cheerios to Fruit Loops, General Mills would become the monopoly, and Kellogg's would go out of business. That's one of the dangers in capitalism, is that they're not supposed to be monopolies, because once you establish monopolies, it becomes a completely different economy, and that's why capitalism doesn't work either. None of the current economic systems that we know about work. They all suck. And so the Book of Mormon does also tell us how to have a better economy under the priestcraft. 2 Nephi 26, the last part of the chapter there. You labor for Zion. And so when we have Americans labor for America rather than for money, everything works out fine. But nope, can't have that. Got to have money because people want to be rich. And so as a result, there will always be homeless. There will always be hungry. There will always be uneducated. There will always be the sick, because of the corruption of the economies that we're using. And so when they talk about oh, we need to take care of the homeless, we need to take care of the hungry, we need to take care of the sick, we need to take care of the mentals. Can you believe Obama yesterday coming out and saying that all homeless were mentally ill and needed caseworkers rather than homes? Dear God. It was bad enough when I found out that he had been covering up Afghanistan as well. And then he was also the one responsible for ensuring indefinite detentions, of which I became a victim of here in Utah by the church. But, I mean, to go after human beings was just wrong. So, alrighty. I hope you understand that you don't get caught up in scams. As much as those beaten dogs locked up in cages are so cute and adorable, don't give in to their guilt trips. Especially in other countries. Our government is required to use our taxes in assistance and aid to other countries. If those other countries are refusing assistance or are abusing assistance, it is not our job to have an underground donation thing that could end up being a scam as people live luxurious lifestyles by exploiting those who are suffering. But I mean, that's our government's responsibility. We are not in a position of government leadership. It is not our responsibility. And that can be tough because you don't want people to suffer, you don't want animals to suffer, you don't want our vegetation in the world to be destroyed because that affects our lives. But it's our government that's responsible. And we need to hold our government accountable if they fail to do what is necessary as government leaders. The Democrats, Biden, doesn't want to hold them accountable, which also pisses me off. Alright, that's enough.